Hey everyone, today as suggested in a comment in my most recent YouTube post, I wanted to talk about the PvP meta and 3 things that I think need adjusted, whether buffed, nerfed, or altogether changed, to make the PvP and V Rising more enjoyable. Now I do want to preface that I love V Rising's PvP and greatly enjoy it, but it's been a while since we've gotten a balancing patch and there are inherent flaws in the current meta. So let's talk about them. And please give me your thoughts in the comments below, and if you like this content, be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to break this down with item 1 being about a nerf that needs to happen, item 2 about buffs, and item 3 about a greater change. And with that, let's start off with the first item, what needs nerfed. When V Rising first came out, Chaos Volley dominated the scene, and while it's still very strong and viable, other builds have also come up. I think the one that greatly benefited from the last patch was Frost builds, specifically with the Spear combo. Now I do a lot and play a lot of PvP servers, and I gotta say quite frankly I'm getting sick of so many builds that run Frost Shield, Frost Bat with Slashers and Spear. The combo of getting a chill into a freeze, into a Slashers end cap, into a Spear Q just needs to go away. The Spear as a whole is far too strong, and almost every build I see nowadays, even without Frost, looks to get stuns off for the Spear Q. Now while for the current state of V Rising I think things are decently balanced and more things need buffed than nerfed, I would love to see a nerf against this playstyle. To combat this, first things first, I think the Spear Q needs a nerf. Whether that is a pure damage nerf or decreasing amount of time you are staggered in it so there's more agency for the one being hit, or a combination of those two things, something needs to happen there. It's far too powerful. As for Frost, which I think is the biggest enabler of this build, I think the time being chilled could be decreased a bit. Players have far too much time to hit long-lasting, health-destroying combos off of one freeze because it lasts so long that they are able to wait for cooldowns on weapons if they don't have it, and there's no way to combat this. Now I know dashes remove chill and all that, but still the length of being frozen should be decreased. I feel like freezing someone should be used as a way to get a quick chance to maybe get a partial combo off, or buy time to heal or give yourself a chance for cooldowns to come faster. However, the current freeze lets you get off everything in your arsenal without any competition from your opponent. Thus, those two things need nerfed. For item 2, the buffs. I think there's a few abilities that could use utility buffs. I don't think they need raw damage buffs, but rather the utility they provide could be buffed so they are more viable, and builds can have a bit more diversity than all of them being DPS builds. The two abilities that come to mind when I speak of this are Spectral Wolf and Unstable Mosquito. Right now it feels like both are a bit lesser of a DPS ability and aren't often seen. However, I think that Spectral Wolf could receive a buff for its weaken trait and Mosquito for its amplify. For those not aware, when Spectral Wolf hits someone, it weakens them and reduces their damage output by 30% for 5 seconds. Mosquito, when it hits, inflicts amplify on the opponent, which increases damage taken by 25% for 5 seconds. I honestly think reducing the damage these deal, or just keeping the damage they deal while buffing these debuffs, would be incredibly powerful for the PvP scene. Because all of a sudden duos and trios plus on vanilla servers can actually strategize builds more for fights outside everyone being DPS, and in duels you can have a bit more build diversities for your playstyle. I would increase the weakness on Spectral Wolf from 30% to 40%, and the amplify on Mosquito from 25% to 35%. I think this would be a solid buff that would make these playstyles more viable. This mindset could also be used on similar different non-DPS builds like support builds to really allow players to do different builds and not just raw damage builds like you see now. Finally, for item 3, a greater change to PvP as a whole. I think Blood at the moment needs major changes. Right now it acts as a stationary buff instead of a resource to be used while in combat. I know that game developers have talked about adding mechanic to combat to change how abilities work and how combat works with more diversity, and I really think this change needs to happen ASAP to allow more creativity and strategy with fights. As of now, you get your 100% blood that works best for your situation. In vanilla servers you almost never run out, as it's easy with fish to have an endless supply of it, and you roam around with a perma buff on instead of strategizing the blood at all in fights. In Sunlock's previous game, Battlerite, I know they had a system where you had an energy bar that filled up the more you attacked. You could fill up to max to cast an ultimate, or you could consume parts of it to empower your abilities. I think a mechanic like this with your blood pool could work wonders, where you could sacrifice a percent of your blood pool to enhance your attacks, and depending on your blood type, it would do different things. Maybe Scholar Blood, you could enhance only spells, Warrior your weapon abilities, Rogue your dashes and ultimate, etc. Whether it is this system I propose or not, I think Blood just being permabuffs that basically players always have on after a few days on the server makes it a bit boring and doesn't allow a more engaging agency with the blood. And those are the 3 changes I would want to see in V Rising's PvP as soon as possible. Obviously this can also apply to PvE, but my focus here as usual is on the PvP scene in the game and how to enhance it. Let me know your thoughts and I hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time.